My voice. Now what? Welcome to another installment. I'm going to do another reading today, but I'm going to kind of reach out to a different area. There's a movie that came out last year? The year before? Blue Like Jazz, which I actually contributed to that movie happening. I gave some money, partly because I really like that book that it's based off of. Now, the book's a series of essays, kind of like a thought shotgun. It's a lot of different stuff that didn't necessarily translate into a movie. So it's funny because Donald Miller, the guy that wrote that book, wrote a whole nother book about the process of turning Blue Like Jazz into a movie. And modifications had to be made, but the story I think was told really well. And there's one piece of the story that I want to draw from directly from the book, not from the script of the movie. And it's a scene at Reed College, which is a college in Oregon, if I'm not getting that wrong. And it's a very liberal college. And they have this thing called Ren Fest in the spring where the liberalness kind of goes buck wild and everybody sort of does what they want. And Don and some of his Christian friends there on the university decided to build a confessional, to build a confession booth. And instead of having the people of the university come to them and confess what they did, they wanted to confess as Christians. And this is where that scene picks up. He's in the booth getting ready. Okay. I was going to tell Tony that I didn't want to do it when he opened the curtain and said we had our first customer. "What's up, man?" Duder sat himself on the chair with a smile on his face. He told me my pipe smelled good. "Thanks," I said. I asked him his name, and he said his name was Jake. I shook his hand because I didn't know what to do, really. "So, what is this? I'm supposed to tell you all the juicy gossip I did at Ren Fair, right?" Jake said. "No." "Okay, then what? What's the game?" he asked. "Not really a game, more of a confession thing." "You want me to confess my sins, right?" "No, that's not what we're doing, really." "What's the deal, man? What's with the monk outfit?" "Well, we are, a group of Christians here on campus. You know." "I see. Strange place for Christians, but I'm listening." "Thanks," I told him. He was being very patient and gracious. Anyway, there's this group of us, just a few of us, who were thinking about the way Christians have sort of wronged people over time. You know, the Crusades and all that stuff. "Well, I doubt you were personally involved in any of that, man." "No, I wasn't," I told him. "But the thing is, we are followers of Jesus. We believe that he is God and all, and he represents certain ideas that have sort of not done a good job of representing. He's asked us to represent him well, but it can be very hard." "I see," Jake said. "So there's this group of us on campus who wanted to confess to you." "You're confessing to me?" Jake asked with a laugh. "Yeah, we're confessing to you. I'm confessing to you." "You're serious?" His laugh turned to something of a straight face. I told him I was. He looked at me and told me I didn't have to. I told him I did. I felt very strongly in that moment that I was supposed to tell Jake that I was sorry about everything. "What are you confessing?" he asked. I shook my head and looked at the ground. "Everything," I told him. "Explain," he said. "There's a lot. I'll keep it short." I started. "Jesus said to feed the poor, to heal the sick. I've never done very much about that. Jesus said to love those who persecute you. I tend to lash out, especially if I feel threatened, if my ego gets threatened. Jesus did not mix his spirituality with politics. I grew up doing that. It got in the way of the central message of Christ. I know that was wrong. I know that a lot of people will not listen to the words of Christ because of people like me who know him, carry our own agendas into the conversations rather than just relaying the message Christ wanted to get across. There's a lot more, you know. It's all right, man, Jake said very tenderly. His eyes were starting to water. Well, I said, clearing my throat, I'm sorry for all that. I forgive you, Jake said. And he meant it. And the conversation goes on from there. He gets a little more detailed with it. And I remember reading this book, and there were aspects of it that made sense. And then I watched the movie, and it kind of created emotional impacts at other points that I didn't really catch originally in the reading of the book. And I want to go back and read it again, because this is one of those scenes that in the movie had a huge impact, and it makes me want to go back and read that again, like I was reading it to you, because it really, I feel a lot of that. I feel apologetic about Christianity because of everything it's done and everything that it impacts in a negative way. And so I don't try to put myself out there as a Christian, but I try to live as a Christian. I don't necessarily want everything I say to be Christian rhetoric. I want what I do to reflect Christ. And maybe that's kind of a backwards way. Maybe I have to integrate the two to a degree. I'm not there yet. I'm growing towards that maybe, or maybe I don't need to. Maybe living the life, being the example, and just talking it when I'm asked, hey, why are you like that? Maybe that's not a bad approach. Maybe it is. I don't know. Everybody's trying to figure it out. I just feel that I'm not perfect. I've got a lot to apologize for. So I don't want to beat other people over the head with Christ's message. I just want to try to do it the best I can. Hopefully I'm an example through that. So, my voice. Now what?